Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Chris Hillman, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Robinson, David Wayne Foster, Daz Studio 68, Dick Earth Skeptic, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik 86, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Maria Neelands, Matt, Missouri Bear, Muted, a new Patreon. Thank you very much for joining me, Muted. Really appreciate your support. NA Literalist, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Naibai, Rob H, Skeptic936, Steve ALM, Texas Mike, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Unbelievable Productions, and Windrider. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by a couple of people in both Discord and G Plus panel, so I'll raise the mic on them and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
I told him I took a hair out of a brush, I put it by my window, and within 7 steps I couldn't see it. So he tells me, was the hair blonde? Put it in the light. Oh my goodness. Hello.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. How you listening to you ranting. And hello, whoever that was.
Morning.
Morning.
Yesterday, Neil, how long did you kick around there for after the show?
Not long. Once he was swearing to me that if you put a blonde hair in the light, you could see it from a great distance. I'm done.
Had you heard that example used before?
I've heard you use it.
I kind of meant before I used it. That's what I meant.
No, I haven't.
I like your brick, Nathan. Stack a brick on top of brick.
Well, I tried that, didn't I? And it didn't work. So I then moved to a hair because I'm like, you can qualify that on a much smaller scale than a brick at a mile. You know, you can. I haven't done it. I should. You know, it's probably measurable in feet. The distance that you'd have to move away from a human hair to not see it anymore because it's angular.
7 feet, Nathan.
7 feet. I told you. I knew it'd be in feet.
I backed up 7 feet and I had the hair in the window in the light and it was gone from sight. So Chaiki tells me you need to use a blonde hair. Oh my God.
I mean, when you can qualify it at such a short distance, it means that if you put that distance at 100 meters or, whatever, a much more significant distance, then it's obvious that you can't see it. But it doesn't matter what level you're qualifying at. Hey, 10th man. Is that 10th man? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can crackle.
I had to plug in the mic. Is it better now?
Yeah. No, it's all good. We're just talking about perspective and not being able to see something at a given distance based on its angular resolution.
One of my favorite topics. Speaking of perspective, check your Skype account. I just sent you 3 pictures. Who's on the panel right now?
Hey, Tiff, man.
Hey, Red Man, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Doing good.
Wonderful. You got
End of the day, so
Hey,
it's great.
say that again?
I've put those pictures on. The first one's Black Swan. It's not if it's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all.
You do know that I believe it was Chaiki on the Thursday show said, if it's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all. And then, I'm sorry, Wednesday's show, I believe, but you aired it Thursday. And then yesterday's show, Thursday's show, Ed Freeze, I believe, if gravity is not a force, there are no forces. All right, is this a pattern we're going to be seeing?
I've been talking to those guys, man. They're limited, man, and they're just.
Yeah, I've just never heard back-to-back shows where 2 different ballers pretty much use the same sentence structure, one talking about the horizon and one talking about gravity, and pretty much interchangeable. One said, if it's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all. The other said, if gravity is not a force, there are no forces. What's next on the plate?
Yeah, man, that was frustrating listening to that show back yesterday. I mean,
Why was
just
it
the fact
frustrating? I was laughing my guts out.
no, but it's frustrating when they're explaining it to him so basic, and he keeps inserting weight, saying that I'm not talking about gravity. I said weight is the force, and they take
Yeah,
into the
but
equation of weight. It just gets it to the point where you want to scream. Yeah, I'm laughing too, but I want to scream.
Yeah,
well,
I understand.
Neil, I'm
Some
not.
of them don't understand the magic trick they're trying to perform. So they're saying weight, no, not gravity. It's like you're imposing gravity by using weight. That's why you're saying weight, so you can impose gravity. But they don't get it. They just see half the magic trick, have watched someone else more competent performing the magic trick, and then go through half the process not realising why they're going through it. So they just say, I'm not using gravity. Yeah, you are. The whole point of you saying weight is so you can utilise gravity.
It was till the end of the show where you said, finally we get there, and you rounded out the show where the formula for weight included G.
I still feel the same way.
Yeah, but don't be so fully invested in people who can't add 1 and 1 together or have a conversation that doesn't go in circles. These people have some mental issues. So if you get fully invested in helping these people, you're going to go crazy yourself.
Oh, I'm not. It just frustrates me. I just can't understand. It's like, then it makes me think that they're doing this purposely.
Well, then it's a win for flat Earth, because the whole purpose that I'm on the panel from my perspective is to have the audience see how crazy the comebacks are to the good, solid questions we ask from everybody, from you, from Nathan, from Chaco, whoever. And to me, it's the platform that Nathan has that's very entertaining, but also very educational. And these people come in at their own free will. They could not interrupt, but they do. They don't have to add harm, but they do. They are so frustrated. They're in their 5 stages of denial. And it's perfect for showing people how phony the whole subject matter is of the sphere Earth, and how and what extent that the purveyors of it would go to defend it, even if it's doublespeak. That's the purpose. It's for the audience.
You're absolutely right, 10th man. That said, I completely agree with you, Neil. It is extremely frustrating, because we're dealing with Dunning-Kruger idiots that don't understand how stupid they are.
Did any of you guys catch that Witsit debate with the vegan guy?
Was it a bunch of word salad?
The guy he was.
It just didn't have
It
any
was
meat.
viewed by over 1,600 people.
Go on, Nathan. Go on.
I didn't hear it. What did he say?
I said just didn't have any meat.
Anyway, Witsit destroyed him, but the guy basically knew nothing. Basic stuff he was coming up with. And when Witsit dropped the black swan on him, he was like, wait. So the worst thing you did was debunk the radius, so it's bigger.
Classic. That was a classic one. I just watched Dr. John Deese prior to hopping on your show. His latest.
Yes, I'm going to mirror it over the weekend. Fortunately, I've not had time to do these smaller edited videos because my wife's gone back to work now. So that means looking after the kids during the day, and I've tried, a couple of occasions I've tried to do a bit of editing, and it's just not impossible. So I'll hopefully get some done over the weekend.
Yeah, good. Very good. So, you guys were talking about perspective?
Yeah, Chaiki couldn't understand that hair would disappear, according to Neil, 7 feet. Obviously, this is very depends on your eyesight. But you know what I mean. If you were talking half a mile, a human hair is not going to be visible.
I think Chaiki knows exactly what he's avoiding.
They can't comprehend it. It's not part of their paradigm. Perspective has been hijacked and called Earth curvature. So to try and comprehend something that's been hijacked is impossible for them.
You mean the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve calculator? It's marked with an X, labeled horizon based on the R value?
Yeah.
Very good, Tenth.
I had to write it down. Are you kidding?
You wrote down begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve calculator based on the radius value.
I wrote it down word for word. You have no idea how words roll out of your mouth, and to us, it's like, what? I gotta replay that. I gotta write that down.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I got debunked by the black swan.
Say again, apocalyptic?
Say it faster.
Still didn't catch it, sorry.
10th man. I said I was going to ask 10th man to say it faster than you, Nathan.
The game is on. Well, give me a week to practice.
The speed is at a necessity. So both the consistency and the speed are both done out of necessity. So if you're thinking on your feet when you're arguing with somebody and they're only going to give you a certain amount of time to actually get a breath out with a complete statement that must be concisely summarised and got out of your mouth quick enough for it not to be interrupted, that's why it's concise. It's not a talent thing, it's done out of necessity. You know what I mean?
Hang on. You know they're going to interrupt you, so you get it out quicker. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I remember watching a video about a guy who was the fastest speaking person ever. He's in the Guinness record book, and you can look him up. And in one interview, he does the whole of, I can't remember if it's Billie Jean or Bad, but he just does the whole song in about 20 seconds. Says every single word, every lyric in 20 seconds. And the interviewer says, why have you got this ability? He says, I've got 6 sisters. so to get a word in edgeways, you got to speak fast.
Got 6 sisters, great. That's wonderful.
Hey Nathan, what's the weather like for you today? Is it absolutely glorious?
It's beautiful here. I had my kid sat on me, right, because I've got all the windows open to get a breeze in because it's so nice. And she sat next to me going, I'm cold. I'm like, no, it's not cold. It's summer. Shut up. It's nice.
Yeah. Is it just correlative that this is all because like no planes in the sky, or is it not connected, do you think?
It's summer. What do you mean, is it connected?
Not yet, it's not. Not yet, it's not. That's not true.
What's rustling in the background, Anthony? You've got your gain so high that I can hear everything going on. Someone else is rustling something.
I know, I tried to mute her, but she has no concept that the mic's hot, and therefore any noise that she makes picks up.
That's okay, just turn the gain down like 10%. Because you're too loud anyway. I can't control your volume, so if it's either you quiet and 10th man super quiet, or hopefully you'll turn your gain down for me. That's
technically,
better.
Nathan, we're not in summer. Summer's not for another couple of days yet.
Couple of days?
Yeah.
To start,
February, March and April.
I'm quite...
spring.
Yeah. I'm quite binary with this. Once it comes to the equinox, it's summer as far as I'm concerned. You know, there's summer and there's winter. That's it. All the rest of it's periphery.
May, June. Oh no, we are in summer. We are. December, January, February are winter. March, April, and May are June. Oh yeah, so we're just about to go into the first 2 or 3 days. We're going into the first month of summer.
It's been summer weather here for the last week and a half. I'm in the upper 90s.
Nice here too.
I know, but what I mean is, I don't ever remember it being like this, apart from when I was a kid.
I like
like this for years.
Americans will flip between centigrade and Fahrenheit depending on whether it's hot or cold. So if it's very cold, they'll start talking in centigrade. if it's very hot, they'll talk in Fahrenheit. Oh, it's in the 90s. Oh, it's very cold. Almost 0.
Who does that? I don't do that.
I've seen loads of Americans. They'll flip between the two.
Those are the East Coast
look
people.
it up because centigrade and Fahrenheit are so different. And one says, like when I lived in Spain, they say, "Oh, it's going to be 35," and I'm out there and going, "God, 35? What do you mean 35? It's hotter than hell."
Yeah, you're obviously a bit more old school.
Is the sun shining in the UK today?
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
glory.
It doesn't come here. We don't get sun in this part of the world. It doesn't cross our paths. What's this sun thing you talk of? Of course, it's sunny.
Well, a lot of times it's raining there, correct?
Yeah, but it's still the sun's still out though.
I mean, is it nice, bright, sunny
It's
day?
beautiful
That's
here,
all
Nick. Absolutely beautiful. It couldn't be a better day. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There's a light breeze. There's blue skies. It couldn't be more beautiful.
Beautiful.
I expect a beautiful Friday show.
Yeah, me too. I was singing to my kids. It's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. I showed my kids something I shouldn't have once. Now she does it all the time, my eldest. I was like, she did something cool. And I was like, when you do something cool like that, I can't remember what it was now. You go, booyah. And she was like, booyah. Now she does it all the time. She'll like, jump off the sofa, booyah.
That's great.
Well, my wife took the pregnancy test. She's not pregnant.
Have you got any kids already? Or are you trying for your first?
No, I have 2 grown daughters from a previous relationship, and I have three boys, 2 teenagers, and one going to be 10.
That was from a different marriage, or is the 10-year-old from your current marriage or whatever relationship?
No, the last 3 boys are from my marriage now with my wife, Sarita.
Okay, so you were trying for a 4th kid. Wow.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay, you just had a scare.
Well, I would have adjusted because I'm 55. I said, okay, if the kid's 10, I'll be 65. That's old.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. But there we go. I'm glad we had this discussion on the pre-show, let's put it that way.
lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Chocolate Saying, no, not quite, not yet, Paul Hall, Sleeping Warrior, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Arwen.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Happy Friday, or happy Sunday if you're watching this on a different upload. Any signs of a geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
Not from Grants Pass, Oregon.
Yeah, it's there. You just can't see it.
I'm going to need to see it, I'm afraid. any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nah, none of that going on.
It's there. You just can't feel it.
Keep it going.
Just
Arwen.
can't measure it.
Keep coming.
Just can't prove it. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No scientific evidence. They do have a name for something, an effect, but many names could be given to that effect.
Weight.
I
Weight is gravity.
keep thinking of this net force zero thing because obviously
That's a good
gravity's
movie.
yeah, there you go. I was thinking they're going to probably start arguing that the reference frame issue, but if my can of Coke sitting on the counter, I got one reference frame, it's got its own reference frame, and the counter's got its own reference frame. Now, what reference frame is that can of Coke sitting on my counter accelerating? I'm going to anticipate maybe this is what the ballers are going to say. Can somebody help me out? Which reference frame? Whether the counter's accelerating, the can of Coke accelerating, or am I accelerating? Which one is it?
Well, it will be asserted as a begging the question fallacy, though, won't it?
Well, in pseudo-Riemannian force space, it's all accelerating.
Here we go.
According to Ed Freeze,
Hold on, perfect. Hold on, 10th
tenth
Man. So perfect. Arwen's just taken up the reins perfectly. So he's inserted his begging the question fallacy. He's declared it openly. He's watched Rumpus enough to know how to get away with this. Insert it immediately. Just declare your begging the question fallacy. That's what Arwen's just done. So he's declared the parameters of his begging the question fallacy in pseudo-Riemannian force space, and then he's going to make up his just so story in line with this claim from Einstein. And there you go, you've begged the question, and now we're assuming that force. Then we're going to cancel it out with something else and end up at net force zero with the begging the question fallacy in place. That's what's going to happen, Paul.
But that still doesn't answer the reference frame issue. So, because you have to say something's accelerating depending upon your reference frame. So, which reference frame is my counter, or me accelerating if we're all standing still?
I can't do this for you. Someone else is going to have to do it, Arwen. Maybe you. Because, like I say, at this point, I just go, you're begging the question. You're asking me to assume a rotating or accelerating reference frame that is not experienced in any way, shape, or form, and then going to be cancelled out to leave us at net force zero. This is just begging the question. So, for me to say, well, how is a globe head going to get past that? They won't. But if they then had someone else that wasn't me debating against them and they allowed them to beg the question, how is the fundie going to assume a reference frame that's got an inertia to it or an acceleration going on? They can't. They probably will once they get you to beg the question, though.
Right. In the fourth dimension, there is this acceleration happening, and that is what is translated into the center point of Earth falling effect. The
Beautiful.
displacement.
That's why Arwen is ace. See? He's got straight on with it. He hasn't reasserted the begging the question fallacy. He's just got straight on with describing it within the begging the question fallacy is already declared. Arwen is ace.
So wait a minute. So time is your fourth dimension? So that's your reference frame?
Yeah. Paul's on it already.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Hold on.
space-time.
No. Yes. That's what you just said, Arwen. Don't double back and be that fundy. Yeah. You've just said within the parameters of space-time, fourth dimensional. That's what you said. Yes. That's correct, Paul. Moving on.
No, but Paul said just time. But you
that's
can't
the fourth
separate.
dimension.
It's space-time.
Yeah.
It's the
that's
singular
the fourth
thing.
Yes. Length, breadth, depth, and time. That's the fourth dimension. Paul's right. Don't be that guy, Arwen. You are doing so well being a fundy. Globehead.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, time, Paul. That's right. He's dealing in a conceptual medium that he declared openly at the beginning of his interaction here. That's right, time. Yeah, we're going to point out that he's begging the question now, or are we going to try and pull apart this conceptual medium, or what?
Well, isn't reference frames, though, a point coordinate system to measure something happening? So where's time in this point coordinate system?
Let's see. Well, the time is apparent because of the displacement happening. If there was no time, there would be no displacement.
Displacement of what?
Displacement of materials, which we experience as gravity.
Hold on, we've got a problem now. He's talking about a coffee cup on a counter. What acceleration, Armin? What are you babbling about?
Well, the acceleration towards the Earth's center that it has because of the mass being pulled in by the space-time bending.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. Perfect, thank you, Arwen. There you go, Paul. It's accelerating towards the center of a presupposed spherical Earth. What more do you want?
Can you tell me what the acceleration is of my coffee cup sitting on the counter that is resting on the counter? Because for acceleration to occur, there has to be movement for acceleration. So, but it's resting on the counter. So how is that accelerating towards the center of the Earth? I still don't get it.
Well, it's not literally accelerating. Okay, it's accelerating in the pseudo-Ramonian force space, and that expresses itself as gravity, which is what we experience.
No, that's not how they argue it. They argue net force zero.
Well, so wait a minute. So,
No, I'm not going there. This is my route.
Oh, okay.
So what you're saying is it's not truly accelerating, but you can think of it as accelerating. Okay, thanks.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Hold on, that's the end then. So Arwen's just saying we don't have to operate at the really is level. Fine, that's the end then, isn't it? What are you going to do to this?
Well, we
Paul?
were talking about pseudo-Ramonian force space, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, you've already declared that really beautifully at the beginning, Arwen. That's right. We're operating at the not really is level, Paul. So what are you going to do here?
So what I'm gathering, there is no force holding my coffee cup on the counter. Because
No. There is. No, that's wrong. Arwen, just stop. You just had it explained to you by Arwen. Yeah, it's just not operating at the really is level. We are begging the question, remember?
So I'm imagining my coffee cup accelerating, and I'm also imagining that the counter is accelerating up towards the coffee cup. It's all imaginary. Okay, thanks.
Well, I'm getting kind of sick of this globe presupposition, because you could consider, even within the relative density theory, that it's almost as if it were accelerating, which it normally would be if it had the maneuverability room left. But since it's being obstructed by something physical blocking its movement towards its equilibrium point, right? It is then translating that into pressure, and that pressure is constant. So it is still almost like a virtual acceleration happening.
Hold on,
but
just for
it's
the audience.
virtual.
Hold on, you're correct. Just for the audience's benefit, Arwen is now talking on the really is level, though, just so the audience is clear that he's no longer globehead hat on. Are we all square here? Can we move on to any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
I was rather enjoying this back and forth.
It's come to a
we can
conclusion.
move on.
It came to a conclusion. Arwen declared it openly. That's where you're best to do it if you're a fundie and you're watching. Right at the beginning, he declared his pseudo, i.e. not on the really is level, Ramonian four-space conceptual medium being bent, and he didn't go to net force 0, he just stuck with not really on the really is level, it is actually being pulled if you imagine it to be pulled to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. Well, at that point, Paul, having allowed his opponent to beg the question, what's he going to do? Say, no, that isn't how it works. Yeah, it is, in pseudo-Ramonian four-space, as we're begging the question here. How are you going to overcome that? Well, you're not, because we're not working on the really is level, so the conclusion's been drawn. The conclusion is also the demolition of the argument from Arwen's side, because we're not operating at the really is level. Oh, well, we are. That's why we don't allow him to beg the question.
That's what I meant. Good summary. The finish needs a good summary like that because all of it was begging the question.
Yeah. If we assume that Earth is a spinning ball in a space vacuum, so no viable hypotheses?
Oh, right, the next housekeeping question, right?
Yeah. I was hoping I'd get an answer while I hustle a few more new guests off mute.
Oh. All right. Any single viable hypotheses from any of the fields of cosmology, astronomy, or astrophysics?
They never really get to that point, do they? They just see something, they think up something, they got a good story, they stick it together like an arts project, and that seems to be enough. Nobody is actually holding them accountable to any scientific standard, saying like, yeah, that's a really interesting thing, but maybe we want some actual physical evidence for that.
Sorry, what are you saying? They see some kind of decoded picture and it looks like a donut hole and they call it something. That's all they got?
Yeah. And that seems to be enough for them to keep it all together.
Amazing.
Nobody's
the
getting
pseudoscientists think they can get away with our recent encounter with God, I've forgotten his name, so unimportant. The dude that Anthony, you hosted the show about him, Danny Faulkner.
Dr. Danny Faulkner.
That's the one. They're a joke. All three fields, just a complete joke. It's all pseudoscience, just so stories. It's all they've got. Talking of just so stories, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
It's on screen right now.
Yeah. Good timing, eh?
Yeah.
Tumbleweed sound effect on its way.
Does share screen not work anymore?
Yeah, share screen still works. 3 dots, top right hand corner, hover over the Hangout page. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
It's over there?
Just correlative maths, Nathan, but no distances. We don't know its size. We don't know its distance. We don't know its distance. We don't know its size. But we can calculate it.
How do they calculate? This is Kepler's third law. It sounds very complicated. Surely that's correct, though.
Yeah, if you make a couple of assumptions along the way.
What kind of assumptions?
If we assume that Venus is the same size as Earth and assume that Earth is a sphere, then we can scale it all out using a bit of maths. And we can argue about how accurate the maths are. And the more we argue about how accurate it is, the more valid the maths becomes.
How come they're so trustworthy about the math for that and not the one for the geometric horizon?
Same maths. They're both based on R. So, as Anthony's just explained, Huygens takes the assumed R value of Earth, looks up at the morning star and goes, that's the same size as Earth and a rock in the sky vacuum. Therefore, we can apply Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion with these two assumptions. And then we can derive all of the values for all of the distances. Wow, aren't they far away and massive?
We do not see the astronomical horizon.
Just doesn't add up.
Yeah, that all falls apart based on their lack of an R value assumption that they can now justify. They can't justify R, so none of these interplanetary calculations are valid anymore. They don't have an R value. It's not justified.
They just keep multiplying their problems. Come on, guys.
Nathan, can you see my share screen?
No, I've just got your man swinging his sword.
I think they have a divide and conquer strategy, Paul.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you the screenshot, Nathan. Somebody's given me evidence that supports the assertion that we live on a sphere, and they claim that it's evidence of curvature. But for some reason, I can't screen share. So if I send it back to you in the Master B chat, would you stick it on screen and let's look at it?
Yeah, if you send it now, stick it up. Curvature of Earth.
This is cited as proof of Earth curvature by obviously the author, but also it was cited to me recently on a video. Basically, this is supposed to be game, set, and match for proof of Earth curve.
Okay, do you want to talk me through it?
Well, it's the Bonneville Salt Flats, which is regarded to be one of the flattest places on Earth. So obviously, over the distance it covers, that curvature's got to be made back up again somewhere, right? But given that it's supposed to be one of the flattest places on Earth, I find it's a bit unlikely or not exactly probable that you'll be able to calculate Earth or capture Earth curvature there, because if it's one of the flattest places, you're looking in the wrong place for curve. But if it's as easy as the picture shows, then how big's the Earth? I mean, it's kind of very small.
This is kind of Planet Orleans Parish-esque claim then, with this bending, whatever it is.
Yeah, I just find that it's totally... Well, I don't know what's going on here, but it looks very... I don't want to use the word fake, but you can think of it as fake.
Well, it must be on a ball because we can see a horizon.
Certainly they could do this with the platforms off Santa Barbara, right?
I mean, I've just got it. I'm looking at the live screen now because for some reason my screen share won't work. But I mean, if that's supposed to be evidence of curvature on one of the flattest parts of the world, the salt flats, I think it's the Utah salt flats or the Bolivian ones, whichever. Well, if it's that prominent and it's caught that easily, why can't they show this all the time, every time they go there? Because we've seen the Pontchartrain Causeway and the Pontchartrain pylons, the power lines, and they show that if you go on different days, they're flat as a pancake. So I'm curious as to how this has been achieved, because this never seems to validate or repeat. Somebody gets it, and then nobody ever gets it the same.
Riley, if this was real, it would be called salt curves.
It's a photograph. It's real, but by the same token, we'd need to know all of the conditions that the photograph was taken under, so we could potentially look into the optics of what's occurring. However, their assumption will be played out with the R value in place if they're going to calculate anything based on this image. So they're going to turn it 90 degrees and utilise the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator to assert that what we're seeing has nothing to do with perspective and everything to do with Earth curve after hijacking it.
Well, I might be wrong in saying this, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think Tim Osman has been to the same area and got Bonneville Salt Flats. And if he has, why don't we challenge him to go and repeat this and get the same view with the same curve? Like, just get it twice or once even. Just validate this observation because he lives close to it. It's got to be within the realms of possibility that he could. And if he could, that would be persuasive evidence if somebody else other than a ball earther could do it. Let's see if they can do it.
What use is it? The extrapolation will still require an assumption of an R value that's been debunked by the Black Swan. So what use is it? It looks curvy. Let's see if we can get it to look curvy again. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the use of it would be that if it was to validate up, then it removes the possibility that this person's done some trick photography in some way. But if it doesn't validate up and it looks straight as an arrow, then it kind of shows that this person's done some trickery. I don't know what they've done or how they've done it, but it looks artistic. It doesn't look real world. Would you agree? It looks like it's of another world.
Not really. I think it just looks like a photograph that's been taken under a set of conditions that have caused this optical phenomena of things looking like they're curving. as they're going into the distance with perspective. Now, given that all of their calculations exclude this effect of perspective, which is real and demonstrable in this picture as things go towards the horizon, well, then what use is extrapolating out an Earth curve assumption from this picture? That can't be done anymore. We've debunked the R value that their maths will be based on. So it's meaningless, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's an interesting folly, I suppose. No offence.
It would be useful to see if it could be validated. To see if we can get it validated so it was repeated, so that somebody could make the claim in this topic then other people could then go and do it, right?
What makes you think repetition's necessary exactly?
Say that again.
What makes you think that repetition is necessary in any way, shape, or form?
Well, it helps validate the claim, the assertion of the person that's taken the photograph.
Does it?
It helps.
It's a misconception. It doesn't. The idea the idea that repeating something somehow validates it is the idea that's offered from the scientific method. So your experimentation stage must be done repeatedly by multiple different people, and without bias from other people, so that you've got the same result being validated over and over and over again empirically. Yeah. Systematic experimentation is what they describe that as. But the repeating of the validation of a hypothesis isn't the same as going out and observing something and then observing it again. Similar. That's not. I'll
tell you what's interesting. I'm looking on Google Earth right now at the way the road goes, and the road actually curves. Sorry, the road actually curves in a way that you could perceive that it might be perceived as curved. Yeah, I can't screen share for some reason, but
just screen
all I did was
screen cap it and stick it in Master B. So you're saying it curves to the left or curves to the right? It's taking a, it's
yeah. I mean, I don't know where it was taken from. I can't be certain because it just says from Wendover in NV, whatever NV stands for. So I've just copied and pasted Wendover NV and stuck it into Google Maps, and I've got generally the gist of roughly the angle that the person might be on. It's a bit speculative. I don't know exactly where they're looking, but the salt flats are in front of me, and I can see what looks like a runway in front on the picture. Looks like and there's roads that go near it, and it looks like it's the same roads that I'm looking at. So I'm going to speculate that I've got roughly the right area, but the road curves in such a way that it would make it look like it was Earth curvature over about 3 or 4 miles. It's great, actually. I'm going to screen cap this and send it to you.
Couldn't we have all of this information? I mean, Dr. John Dee's just released his buoy and he's called them character names from Lord of the Rings, like Frodo and stuff, but that has all the what's the words? Can't remember the name. There's a name for the type of data. But all the background information is provided, so you can just easily assess this. Have we not got any of this information for this image? Is it just a baseless assertion? Here you go, Earth curve.
Yeah, it just says, all I can detect from it, it just says, overlooking the Bonneville Salt Flats from Wendover NV, very noisy, no tripod. So I've sent you the picture, Nathan, if you put that on screen.
Yeah, I have.
So if you look at the picture that Nathan's now got on screen, it kind of indicates roughly the kind of area that I would expect this person to have taken this picture in. And you can see that the road on screen curves off, it bends round to the left, and that would give you the perception that there's curve. But it's only over a few miles. But the depth in field in the picture indicates that you're looking much, much, much further than a few miles, but you're not. You're only looking a few miles, and the road bends off to the left.
I see.
Deceptive.
Well, maybe.
Clever photography, but deceptive.
Yeah, we'd need the data from whoever it was and whatever they're claiming and how they're claiming it proves it before we start trying to debunk it.
On face value, though, it does look like Earth curve. But when you scratch below the surface, you realise that the surface is quite thin and fragile.
Yeah, but I don't want to debunk it based on their claim being, it looks like Earth curve. They might say, no, there's far more complex data behind this claim. Here's what it is, here's what I'm claiming, here's my data to back it up. And then you go, all right, now I understand your claim. I mean, obviously the inverse of what the globeheads do, we try and explain modus tollens and the black swan to them, and they ignore it and stick their head in the sand and go, la 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 la. They don't try and appreciate and understand it. That'll take at least 18 months. Whereas when we are presented with a claim, obviously we set much higher standards than they do. And we would like to know the historic data for the information first, so we can assess the claim that's actually being made and what proves the claim. rather than just saying, "Oh, right, their claim is it looks curvy." Go on. Sorry.
I'm scrolling through pictures right now on the internet of this area, the Bonneville Salt Flats. I don't see anything that resembles that picture.
Yeah, if you go to Wendover in NV, just type in Wendover. There's a town called Wendover, W, not B, and from there you can see roughly the angle that the person. I mean, I don't know exactly where they're located, but you can see the angle that they've got, and they're only looking a few miles there. They're not looking mega miles. Certainly not 30 miles. They're looking maybe 5. And you can see that the road bends off. It curves to the left, which is being perceived and touted to be Earth curve, and it's explainable just by the road, the shape of the road.
Well, if the Earth is a sphere with the radius of 3959, this should be spotted everywhere.
Yeah.
What radius?
I'm starting to figure out too. Once
The radius? My bad.
Chocopedia.
What's up, guys? Good morning.
I've just started discovering when I talk to Globers and I start saying, do you have the ground temperature data? Like what's the temperature of the ground or the temperature of the water and the atmospheric? When you start pressing them on that, because that's actually, those are the factors that can determine something's refracted or not. They say, well, you don't need that. As soon as they say they don't need that, they're done. Because that's their argument that things are refracted. So when you say things are refracted, because sinking and that stuff is part of refraction, if they don't give you the data, if they obfuscate the data, it's over. I had this happen on just the other day.
Yeah, but what they do though is they say they can dispense with that because they've got standard refraction, which is obviously based on R, rather than based on the 4 key things like you just said: pressure, temperature, density, humidity, or whatever the factors are. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But the point is, you're right. They've got this claim that you don't need all the empirical data when it suits them because they've got standard refraction. But when we question it, they say, well, if you're going to apply real world refraction, you need to know all these along every point of the corridor. And it's like, oh, right, so it's different rules when we try and do it, but when they try doing it, this, oh, yeah, standard refraction is fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just point out the magic trick. Okay, if you're going to assert refraction, what refraction are you asserting? 07/6 R? We've debunked R. You can't use standard terrestrial refraction, as it's actually accurately called. Terrestrial refraction uses R. Bye-bye, we don't have an R value anymore, Black Swan. Maybe if you learnt the argument and understood how it had been debunked and why it's now untenable, you wouldn't be asserting standard refraction in the form of terrestrial 7/6 R, because you don't have an R. Bye-bye, Globe. You'll all learn eventually. It may take some time, but we'll be here for you to understand just how dead your model is.
Can I say something?
Of course, go ahead.
I see some kind of middle ground in both of what you guys were saying. Even this morning, when they're still talking about the black swan, they present the clear day picture and then the fuzzy day picture, and they're still on about this. Look, you can see all the distortion, right? So they want to say that there's some distortion from one side, but then back to where this point opened up, they obfuscate and they don't want to have the numbers. My man said, as soon as they say you don't need it, they're done. It's like, but I do see some sort of middle ground.
Not really.
Can I ask you a question?
Let me summarize that point before you do, Chocolate.
That
just 1 second, Chocolate. Just 1 second before you do.
My bad.
So, yeah, your geometric horizon we discussed yesterday. I think it was Arwen we were discussing it with. This is a fixed value, set in stone, inviolable, not to be changed. Because as soon as it is, it's no longer either the value that it must be or geometric. So it is very much set in stone. If they say, oh, we can argue about one image being fuzzy and therefore there's lots of refraction going on. So not a geometric horizon then, we've only got one. This is the death of their model. It's so cut and dry.
I totally agree with that argument. I was just trying to say I'm just trying to bear witness to the fact that they're still playing in the middle ground. I'm not trying to argue it personally. But yeah, and then it's like if they want to do that, they need to I'm with you. They need to rigidly prove refraction, all this for all the phenomenons to hold up their claims.
Sure.
Here's another aspect of it too. If they say it starts talking about distortion, that's refraction. Well, the next question would be, can you have refraction that is not distorted? And as soon as you show that that's possible, they're done as well. So you can have refraction without distortion. I mean, that's obvious. Nope.
You're back onto this having refraction. No. Their refraction is terrestrial refraction, and they can't have it. Sorry. This arguing about real refraction and whether or not we're going to qualify it, who cares? They don't have that. It's not what they use. It's irrelevant. Their refraction's debunked.
My problem with this whole refraction thing, and then when they want to talk about the cranes, now obviously I'm not an expert in this type of shit, right? I'm just a layperson, just a regular Joe, right? But when I look at this image and I'm seeing this horizon further, almost 10 times further than it's supposed to be, and then we're told this refraction is the cause of that, I'm like, okay. But then I look at the cranes, right? And these guys, they always point at the crane. Look at the cranes. They're all distorted. Okay, so you're saying that distortion is this refraction. So the cranes are being distorted because of refraction, but at the same time, this very refraction is giving us clear visibility so that we can see a horizon 10 times further than it's supposed to be. So which is it? Is it distorting or is it giving us clear visibility? I don't get that.
That's where I'm going. That's kind of where I'm going, Chocolate, in that same vein.
I've been there, bro. Ever since I heard bendy crane refraction, I'm just like, what? So you're asserting that because of the distortion, we see refraction. Okay, great. But now you're also saying that because of the same thing causing the distortion is causing the horizon to be at further than 9 miles when it's supposed to be at 1.2? Nah. That sounds like double speak and pseudoscience and just nonsense. To me, anyway.
Yeah, but their whole, prior to the Black Swan, their whole stance was that objects are refracted from the horizon, not the horizon.
Yes, the horizon's an
So
object.
things that are below the horizon are being pushed up. They never, ever talked about the horizon being refracted. So now, because of the Black Swan, they have to take it a step further and say that the horizon
Can you not have 10th man talking, Rumpus?
So now you got two horizons.
The horizon is refracted. It is an object.
Oh,
Hey.
look who's here.
The horizon is refracted.
So it's not
What kind of refraction is it, Rumpus?
Sorry?
Did he just say the horizon is an object?
What type of refraction is the horizon?
Hold on. Well, let me answer. The water that makes up the horizon is a physical object, and so it's refracted just like everything else.
What type of refraction are you referring to?
Sorry, I missed that. Sorry, I interrupted you, Anthony. Karen.
What type of refraction are you claiming that the water is doing?
The water on the horizon is refracted like everything else is refracted.
Not his question.
On the refractive
You dumb.
I heard towering this morning. I heard them say towering.
Hold on, Don. Do you want to ask him again, Anthony? He didn't answer you.
You said the horizon is refracting. I asked what kind of refraction is it refracting with?
Well, usually it's just standard refraction, but it depends on the conditions.
Standard refraction's been debunked. That's based on an R value you don't have, because that would give you a geometric horizon based on that R value. So if the horizon's refracted, you don't have an R-based geometric horizon, and you're going to require one for terrestrial, otherwise known as standard refraction. So no, not standard refraction. You don't have an R value if you don't have a geometric horizon.
Yeah, we do have an R value.
You don't have a geometric horizon, and that's what an R value gives you.
We don't need to get a geometric horizon.
That's what R gives you, you complete muppet. R gives you a geometric horizon. Are you dense?
We don't need to have a geometric horizon.
That's what R gives you. You're just going to repeat it? What? Keep repeating it 5 more times? You don't need one. That's what R is based on. It gives you a geometric horizon. You just don't have one.
That is not based just on making an observation of the geometric horizon.
No, based on R. I didn't say based on observation. Based on R. The radius value. That's what terrestrial refraction's got. 7/6 R. R has been debunked. R gives you a geometric horizon, and according to you, you're describing a non-geometric horizon. So you don't have one. That's based on R, not your vision. Why are you juxtaposing vision with me saying R value? Are you dumb?
We know R's correct. So what's the...
It's not correct. You haven't got one. R gives you a geometric horizon, you moron.
Science denier. I can't help.
Science denier? Why are you ad homing me? I've just pointed out that R gives you a geometric horizon. You're saying science denier. Why this ham-handed ad hominem segue?
No, R does give you a geometric horizon. That's...
You don't have one! What do you mean R does give you a geometric horizon? Show it us!
When the horizon...
When the horizon? Show it us, you moron.
Okay, then every horizon that you look at is a function of the geometric...
Not a function of. That's not the geometric horizon then. So you're going to beg the question of a geometric horizon. You can't show me. Function? No.
There are two factors. You never...
No, there's only one horizon, not two factors for a horizon. One being a geometric one you can't see. We've only got one.
Yeah, we've only got one...
And it's not geometric. We've only got one horizon, it's not geometric.
That's correct, it's not...
Yeah, so we haven't got an R-value-based geometric horizon. So your R's debunked for your terrestrial refraction.
The apparent horizon...
No. R-based geometric for this terrestrial refraction, moron.
But you have to allow for refraction.
We have to allow for a geometric R-based horizon for this refraction, moron.
There are geometric horizons...
You haven't got one. And R's based on it.
Those two things together...
No, one thing, one horizon. Yours is geometric.
No, we agree...
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely going to be needing a geometric R-based horizon for your mathematics. Terrestrial refraction's got an R in it.
Of course. Because of refraction.
No, because of R. 7 over 6R. Not because of refraction. Very much because of 7 over 6 of the R value giving you a geometric horizon you don't have. It's been debunked. You're not going to be able to use this refraction, you moron.
Refraction is what causes the 7 over 6R bit.
Sorry, refraction's not causing the mathematics of an R value.
It is.
No, it isn't. R gives you a geometric physical sphere edge for a horizon, marked with an X labelled horizon in your geometric maths. It's based on geometry. It's crucial for your maths.
And when you add in refraction...
No. When we add in terrestrial refraction, that needs R. Not when we add in refraction. You need R first.
Did you say refraction is causing an equation?
Thank
geometry.
Yeah, geometry needs R, doesn't it?
You can work it out as a function of the...
Not of a function of something you haven't got. You can't take a function of an R-based geometric horizon if you haven't got one.
You can't deny the radius. You can't deny it.
Sorry, I'm debunking it. You haven't got one. How are you going to derive something from it as a function if you haven't bloody got one? I'm not denying it, I'm debunking it.
How?
Sorry, you eating your mic?
Have you debunked radius? You haven't done anything like that?
Sorry, you haven't got a geometric horizon. That's what R gives you, a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon marked with an X labelled horizon in your geometric maths. It's fundamental to geometry. It's the R value.
We do not need to have a geometric horizon.
Yeah, you do. It's marked with an X labelled horizon. It's fundamental to geometry. It's the basis of the geometry. It's the basis of your terrestrial refraction, which includes R. You absolutely require it to do geometry.
And you
they never needed geometric horizon.
Wait, hold on, Rumpus. You can't decide whether you don't need a geometric horizon, whether you do have one, whether you don't have one. Do you even know where you are right now, bro?
Yeah. A sentence, it'll be very, very clear.
Suck my balls. That's what you can do. Yeah, you double-speaking fundy J-trig.
You see, won't let me answer, you see? This is why...
No, you're not going to get to do anything. We've demolished you round and round in circles 6 times. Now Chocolate's laughing at you. And you're asking if you can get to finish a sentence. No, you need an R value for 7 over 6R.
See that, people? You won't let me answer.
You need an R value for 7 over 6R. It's not a secondary function if it's already in your refraction.
You won't let me answer.
Sorry, is that all you've got? You won't let me answer. No, I'm pummeling you.
But you've answered already.
Yeah,
you just said you don't need a geometric horizon. But a few minutes earlier, you said you do have a geometric horizon. And then a few minutes earlier than that, you said you don't have a geometric horizon. So what the hell are you talking about? Do you know where you are?
Sir, would you like to want me to answer? Right, here we go.
No, I want you to suck my balls. When are you going to do that?
Interrupted immediately. Right.
Yeah, telling you to suck my balls. Now I've teabagged you. That's what I'm doing. I'm telling you, you've been pummeled, you stupid moron. That's what's happened here. You've been absolutely obliterated with your doublespeak about needing but not having the geometric horizon that R is based on and your terrestrial refraction utilises in the form of 7/6R. We've pummeled you, mate.
It should be obvious to everybody he's frightened of me answering his question.
I haven't asked you a question. I've made a statement of fact. You need R for terrestrial, which you called standard refraction. You need R. So saying, well, we'll take a secondary function from a horizon we haven't got to give us R to move the horizon with R, you're gonna need R. I've pummeled you, I'm not asking anything.
The apparent horizon...
No. You need a geometric horizon for your maths, moron. Yeah? What, am I not letting you finish? Yeah, by pointing out that you're talking about a horizon that's not geometric now. You have only got one. Yours is geometric.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's marked with an X, labelled horizon, and based on R! So, no, you double-speaking fundy while I teabag you over and over again. Enjoy the salty aftertaste, Muppet. You need R. You haven't got it. You haven't got a geometric horizon. It's game over globe. You don't have to like it. Maybe you'd like to bitch that you're not getting to finish your sentences while I pummel your religion.
That diagram doesn't include...
Oh, you're just going to talk through me. Not listening anymore. Bye-bye.
That diagram...
Bye-bye. Eat your mic, bitch. Bye-bye. If you're not going to listen to any more pummeling your religion, thinking that you're going to shut down communications by talking through my pummeling of your requirement for R, no. You don't have to listen. I'll just shut you up. If you're not going to listen to me anymore pummeling your religion, then you can go away. That's what you have to do. You have to listen to me pummeling you. And then claim that you're not getting a chance to speak. Yeah, we heard you. Saying you don't have but require a geometric horizon based on R to give you 7/6R refraction to move the horizon. Yeah, it's a bit of a circle jerk. It's a bit of a death of your religion. And I'm going to highlight that without you claiming that you're not going to get to finish your sentence while you double speak us. And get plenty of time to tell us how you need R but don't have it. Okay, matey? Bye-bye.
That's what's funny, in my opinion, is that
you keep slipping off push to talk.
Brilliant, Tony.
Hey, Chocolate.
Yo, what's up, brother?
Would you be coming to Rumpus's funeral? He's died again.
Oh, again? Poor guy.
I'm getting tired of all these funerals. I keep going to Rumpus's funeral, but he keeps reincarnating as the devil.
So he said the
I'm not
horizon
dropping
is
any more
object.
flowers on his coffin anymore. I'm
No.
done with that.
No, come on. We have to make poetry about it. Like every ridiculous statement he's ever made, it should all be remembered and just put in this.
We're going to need a hell of a tombstone.
That would be a Howard show.
He said, quote unquote, we don't need a geometric horizon.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just to paraphrase, there is an important point that Nathan's demolished in his style with Rumpus. But the important point to notice is that when Rumpus calculates anything, because it's always based on R, and they don't have R because they don't have a geometric horizon, it means that their maths is invalid. That's the important point to notice.
Yes.
Beautifully put.
He keeps asserting it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also called me a science denier because I wouldn't beg the question with him. Hey, no science being talked about here, no independent, dependent variables, no observed phenomena, nothing. Zero science, but he called me a science denier because that's their trick, isn't it? When you deny the religion of an R value that's been debunked, you're a science denier. So you better be scared of being a flat earther because your kin around you will call you a science denier if you don't believe in the globe religion.
Well, that's what I was telling you the other day. They say that the scientific method is not the only science. Him, Rumpus, and Zanuck the other day in the after show.
No, their science is their religion of a globe, and they're going to tell you that it's science because it then sounds empirical when it's just a religious faith they're asserting as science. It's pseudoscience. There's no science being discussed here. Not today, not by anybody.
And then they followed up with
what does it mean
statements.
anyway, science denier? You mean we don't abide by your philosophy? You think science is a philosophy and you can do with it whatever you like. Now,
The literal translation would be pseudoscience denier. They are asserting pseudoscience. We deny it. we are actual pseudoscience deniers, as you would expect to be if you're a normal, upstanding, decent human being who accepts empirical evidence over stories. But we're denying those stories, and those stories are their pseudoscience, but they call them science, and if we deny them, we're quote-unquote science deniers. Reality being pseudoscience deniers.
Nathan, when I was a kid, I used to remember going to the beach with my parents, and when back in the day you were allowed to drive your car on the beach because they had parking on the beach. I know it sounds a bit weird, but like they don't do it anymore, but you could get your car on the beach. And my dad, because it's not a public road, he used to let me drive on the beach. I was sat straddling. He would control the pedals because I wasn't big enough, and I would steer the wheel and just drive around the beach for 10 minutes, and I absolutely loved it. I was only about 10, but nonetheless, that was allowed back when we were kids. But I remember one day I said to him, we were looking at something on the horizon. Obviously, it was a water horizon at the beach, and I said to him, I said, "Dad, how far away is that?" And he said, "Well, you can only see 3 miles up to the horizon, son." And it's stuck in my head all this time as an adult, and it regurgitates on me like after, I don't know, whatever. It goes through my mind. And I remember thinking at the time, I thought, that's way further than 3 miles away. And my dad never questioned that it wasn't 3 miles away. He just accepted it because that's what he was told as a kid. But obviously this topic's all about how far can you see at the horizon, and that's the question that we're asking. But it takes me back to when I was a kid, because I used to look at the horizon and think that's clearly further than 3 miles away, because there's like, things dotted around like boats and whatnot. And you can tell by how small the boat is, roughly how far away it is. And maybe you can't, but you get the perception it's not 3 miles, it's a lot further than that. And that's when we have this conversation right now, it takes me back to then. And I always remember thinking back then, that's not 3 miles away, that's much further than 3 miles. Just interesting how this topic is revolving right now about that exact point. How far can you actually see at the horizon?
So you had a black swan back then?
Maybe.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I used to look at the stuff on the horizon and the boats and we had like oil platforms and things like that before turbines and stuff. But I used to look at them and think they're not 3 miles away; they're about 10. But my dad was telling me it was only 3 miles because that's what he was told. It's interesting.
Well, the geometric horizon has never been a real measurement for them anyway.
We don't see it, we don't need it, but my refraction value will be based on it.
Exactly. So their 7/6R and their refraction tables are based on something that's not a real measurement.
So I think technology has caught up with the pseudoscience lie.
As I say, we might take another 8 to 12 months for people in the audience or people who oppose us on the panels that we have. But this is the death of the globe. We weren't kidding. This is the Black Plague. It's the end. This is the death. It's being wiped out before your very eyes, fundies. It's flat. It's not a globe. You're just going to have to get used to it.
When I was growing up, and 10th man might be able to, hang on, where did my mic go? 10th man might actually relate to this. When I was growing up, my grandmother was a good old country woman, and she used to get real chickens, live chickens. And what she used to do, and it was kind of crazy, when she wanted to cook a chicken for dinner, she would grab the head of the chicken and wring its neck, to kill it. Well, there was one time when she was doing this, she wring the chicken's neck, and the head was in her hand, but the body landed out in the grass and started running around. Chickens started running around the yard. The head was in my grandmother's hand, but the chicken was still in the yard running around as if it was alive. That's kind of what's going on, I think.
They've got a very long brain stem. That's what that is. There's been a few instances where people have chopped the heads off chickens and then they've stayed alive and they've fed them with pipettes and things. Dave the Headless Chicken or something like that. Long brain stems. That's why that happens.
So you need to make a picture of Rumpus as a chicken with Rumpus's head off running around.
Is that what that analogy was for, Paul? I was just about to ask that question. Or was it
we
just
don't allow for
the Globers are still running around trying to keep their globe alive, but the head, the black swan, and the head of the chicken is in the hand of the flat earthers.
Hey, Neil, we don't allow foul images on the show.
I'm
Hey,
picturing
Zanuck goes a different tack. You know that what Rumpus does is different than Zanuck. Zanuck, when he gets into a position like Rumpus got and says, people mock what they don't understand. He forgets that
we don't
same
understand
words can be used
pseudoscience.
against him.
I just hear that as a remix of "You Just Don't Understand." It's just the same nonsense, just trying to spin it in a different way.
Well, technically, he is absolutely correct.
He is. I'm glad you said that,
yeah,
Arwen.
People mock what they don't understand. Like he mocks us and what we think about, which he doesn't understand, and that's why he keeps mocking it.
So projection then.
Hold on, that is true, Arwen, but that's not where I thought you were going. So check out a channel called Thrice 8 Hermes, who details authorship, the authorities, and what is understanding. And once you understand those things, you will appreciate that his statement is technically correct. However, it doesn't mean you can't stand in opposition while still understanding, in this instance, concepts and stories. I can understand a story, doesn't mean I accept it as reality. Those two things are very different. Now, somebody who's conveying a story may be the authority, the author of this story. Maybe it's a Musa character for the sake of argument, and he's changing part of the narrative. Or who's the guy that Chocolate quotes all the time? Japanese guy?
Michio
Kaku. These are the authorities in these stories. You can't challenge them. You've got to just understand how their story works. Then you can challenge it. Tell them how they're wrong and it's not reality. Doesn't mean you don't understand. Some people may not understand. And then you might not be in a position to challenge something that you don't understand. Well, on the other hand, you might just understand that it's conceptual and challenge it at its roots without needing to understand it. Again, very different. But understanding what is an authority, the author of something, and what is understanding is very crucial when it comes to debating. Anyway, that's where I thought you were going, Arwen. That said, it is just projection, you're right.
But they do this all the time. It's how all their accidental truths are spoken. They're trying to be smart by stating something that's just this moment of clarity, not realizing that that moment of clarity is actually making them say exactly the opposite of everything they ever claimed. And they literally say it, they're right, but they realize that they got in their own. They don't realize at that moment they got in their own way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to sink in afterward either, because they always do keep on doubling down and trying to make up excuses why that's all right.
And all we're looking for is a forced, embedded confession. So where they slip up because things are logically sound, so therefore must be stated as such, but contradict their narrative, that would be only exposed through embedded confession. They're not intending to let that through. It's just got to be forced out of them or teased out of them through logic and reason. And then ultimately, even if you do manage to tease it out and you get that little snippet that goes onto a soundbite and repeated at nausea to them, our amusement, even if you do get it, they will still double back immediately afterwards. Like immediately to their original assertion, regardless of their own contradiction. That's where we get doublespeak, circular reasoning going round and round and round like we did with Rumpus earlier. At the point where they're just not listening to your sound logic being put back to them over and over again, they just talk through you. As Babs would put it, they're shutting down the communication. They're not listening, but they're definitely stopping people from hearing.
Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It goes so fast when it's live, like when Rumpus came, and it's bang, 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 bang. So there's a very important point here for the audience, and for me as well, is real refraction versus terrestrial refraction that's based on 7/6R. The R, the radius of the Earth based on the globe sphere model. So right there, those are the fixed set of rules that are in stone, as you said. Can we summarize that and show how, because they have an R value from the 3959 sphere of the Earth, and how they have their terrestrial refraction 7/6R, that they're bound to that?
Yeah, we only have one horizon. The horizon in the geometric begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator is an R-based horizon. They're getting away from the physicality they're claiming of a sphere Earth, and it gives them a physical geometric horizon based on R. Now, if, as they are currently disclaiming, they don't have it, or even today don't need it, only to then assert that refraction, in their case standard, aka terrestrial refraction, will require R, giving them a geometric horizon they don't have. So we only have one horizon. The globe horizon is geometric, but we do not see it. End of globe model. You require but do not have a geometric horizon, and we only have one horizon. To be perfectly honest, Sleeping Warrior more concisely summarised this than I did earlier. He said it in about one sentence. I can't remember his summary to repeat it.
It was when they need a geometric horizon to be able to calculate for R. They don't have a geometric horizon. Their maths is invalid.
Perfect. Beautifully put.
Hey, with everything going on, especially on this discussion about flat Earth, whenever they start talking about, well, the body of science says, or my scientist says, I think of this scene from the Batman. I've got it posted in Master B, and it's when the Joker says, "Who do you trust?" I thought that was been a good little meme or gif for everything that's going on nowadays.
Jack Nicholson.
Who do you trust? Me? I'm handing out free money. And where is the rumpus? He's at home washing his tights.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this either on the premiering stream on Sunday or on Nathan Oakley channel, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum if you did tune in live. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
What'd you ask?
Took it off.
He did.
No, they took it off.
Whoever that
I
is
could hear
talking,
you.
you're really breaking up. Is it Dr. La?
Very low.
I think Paul is talking in the background.
Can it be a hot mic?
Maybe it could be. Dr. La might not realise it, so he's on mute now, so. Yeah, good show.
Yeah. Friday.
I was going to compliment Sleeping Warrior, actually, but yeah, it is Friday. That's true, too.
That's
Say again,
Friday.
Nathan.
Friday always brings in good surprises for us.
Say again,
So
Nathan.
Nathan, what did he mean when he said the horizon is an object?
It's a physical...
He means
Go on, Anthony.
He means the horizon is physical. He means it's physically an object that can be refracted.
But it's not.
No, but on their model it is. In real world, it's not.
Well,
But they need
yeah,
it
of
to
course
be.
he needs it to be an object so that it can move, right?
Yeah. But on his model, it's an object that is capable of moving. On our model, it's a point where things just blend into the... Like, if you can see, the ballers always say things like, there wouldn't even be a horizon on a flat plane. Well, that's because when you see something in orthographic view and you see parallel lines, they don't converge because of perspective. But parallel lines, when you apply perspective to an orthographic view, they all converge. So they've seen obviously somebody with a side profile with somebody's side of their head not seeing any horizon. Well, that's not got any perspective in it. And then people you just can't have any conversation with because they're so new to the conversation that they don't understand perspective at all.
So I gave you a compliment, Anthony. I said that you were ace, basically. And that was another example. So yesterday I spent, I don't know, 5 minutes with Chaiki trying to explain exactly that. You know, are we so used to orthographic view, is used to seeing the side of it? Whereas in a couple of sentences, you summarise something that I went through with Chaiki for 5 minutes. He's trapped in orthographic view.
Yeah. Yeah, orthographic view is all parallel lines remain parallel. Orthographic view with perspective, all parallel lines converge in the middle because of perspective, and that's the bit they always miss off. That's the bit they hijack because they don't want you to see the convergence that you see with your own two eyes.
Exactly.
But I never heard them say that the horizon was an object. They always saying that refraction is objects in front of the horizon, right?
Yeah,
that
it's
distorted
unstated.
Or whatever?
It's an interesting point, Neil, and there's a reason. It's the same reason why they ask us about our edge on the Flat Earth model from the Flat Earth Society that we don't adhere to. The reason is because that's one of the weakest parts of their argument. Their assertion is that we have a sphere beneath our feet and a sphere edge horizon. So if you're standing on a giant Zorb ball and you look down at an angle, you're going to see the edge of the Zorb ball, aren't you? Just nod along.
Yes,
Neil.
yes.
Well, the ball Earth is the same in their view. It's a physical sphere with the same physical geometry and tangent points. Well, the tangent point's their horizon. The physical geometric horizon. I'm saying these things, right? And I'm putting even more emphasis, even more drama into these words because I say them daily. But it's just, even for our own side, I'm not knocking you, Neil. It takes a while for the words and their meanings to actually sink in. When I say any evidence of a physical, geometric, sphere edge horizon, all of those words are pertinent.
Yeah, physical, I know, but I never heard him say that.
No, because it's the weakest part of their argument.
Yeah, because now they have to run away from the physicality of their geometric horizon.
Well, the physicality of the globe.
Obviously, they're telling you they don't even have one now.
Yeah,
so there's no physicality to it.
They're running away from the physicality of the globe they claim we stand on. That's why the globe model's dead. They're running away from the very physicality they're claiming. That's the point.
And as far as claiming that the horizon or the ocean is an object, right? Well, to me, I just see that as them trying to weasel in their little looming, because whenever they say looming, we're like, all right, so what the hell is that? Oh,
yes,
that's an object appearing above the horizon that would usually be below it. Is the horizon an object? And is it looming? No. So then what the hell are you talking about?
Exactly, chocolate.
Yeah, but
when they get to their horizon, it's based on their refraction. I've got a quote from Rumpus. You know it's looming because of its position with respect to the horizon. Now, their horizon, when you say you don't normally hear them calling it physical, do you know what the words they use inserted instead of calling it a physical geometric sphere edge? Do you know what the words they use are, Neil?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Earth curve.
Yeah, yes.
When they say Earth curve, they mean physical, geometric sphere edge. That's their Earth curve.
Yeah. That's why they don't like when I say you guys used to call the geometric horizon the curve of the Earth. Remember?
Exactly,
we all used to call it that.
Exactly.
They don't see that no more, though.
They never did.
Well, they're going backwards.
They never did. We never were on a sphere. We never had a geometric horizon. We never had a sphere edge. We always had perspective. We never saw in Muppet Vision. The whole thing's a farce. It's falling apart at the seams. We're watching it. Sit back with a marshmallow and laugh as it happens.
There's always models. You know? In the model, it's still real.
It's on fire,
That's
mate.
the only place.
It's on fire. We're just sat here watching it burn.
Yeah, but it can't burn because it's not real. Only real things can burn.
Yeah, the cognition
So
and the
it'll always
fundies we
be there in their
oppose.
mind, appearing like it's all legitimate.
Yeah, with the metaphorical fire in the mind's eye of the fundies we oppose. That's who's having the fire.
It's a mental exercise. It's a Jedi mind trick. It's a thought experiment. It never was there. And they're having to deal with it now, and it's hurting them bad.
No, Nathan, it's a headless chicken. That's what it is. It's a headless chicken.
It is. It's a headless chicken running around not knowing it's dead yet.
Headless chicken, a curveless globe.
Things are getting.
Because what's a globe without a curve, you know? It's flat.
Imagine thinking you live on a ball that has no curvature.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
They do.
We don't need the curvature to believe we live on a ball. We don't need it. You just need belief. You just need understanding of the rhetoric. That's all you need, because it's all in your mind. You don't live on a ball.
And orthographic view, don't forget about that.
Yeah, orthographic view, ignoring all perspective, seeing the side of your own head when comparing it to photos. Yeah, you need to be able to do all those things. As long as you can do all those things, it'll pretty much convince you stood on a ball by way of reification. You're not. We're watching that idea burn because we've debunked R, and it's absolutely crucial if you're doing geometry to make an assertion of a sphere Earth beneath our feet that we don't have because we don't have a geometric horizon. It's ace.
And I can't believe Rumpus, tripled down now. First he said we do have one, we don't have one, and today now we don't need one.
No, but they do have one, but they don't need it though. But they just want to show off with that superfluous geometrical horizon that they don't need, but they still have it. You can't see it though.
Exactly. It's just like, yeah, man, we've got horizons coming out our ass, man. We've got so many horizons, we don't even know what to do with them. Geometric horizon, don't even need it.
Throwaway.
Yeah, it was because of Sleeping Warrior. That's why I got kudos at the end of the show, or the beginning of the pre-show, beginning of the after show. He cut to what refraction are you using, Grumpus? Cut to it immediately. So, an understanding of the Black Swan argument is the understanding that they need R for everything. Every bloody argument that's going to assert the sphere is beneath our feet starts and dies with the R value.
The word argument literally does start with R, so...
No, it bloody doesn't.
Yeah.
Arwen's not English. Don't post comments about Arwen. Arwen is ace. Shut up, you in the comments section.
He did it phonetically.
Yeah.
If you keep destroying all these points, that I think they're going to go directly to space and ISS. And
Yeah, they've just found easier territory. There's easier stomping ground to cope with than here. That's the bottom line. I've said it, I'm not boasting. We're on the cutting edge here. There's no two ways about that. The globe has died here. With the arguments. Not because it wasn't already a globe, or because there wasn't people out there that didn't appreciate it was flat already. That's not what I'm suggesting. But the arguments and the obfuscation that comes along with them has been killed here. So where are you going to go if you can't get around any of the arguments and rebuttals that we present? Well, you're going to go somewhere else. Somewhere where it's easier to fight your cause and beg the question. So, that's fine by me. I like a quiet life.
Oh, Nathan, did you see that Sean Hawkins apparently reviewed one of my shows?
He's been doing that for months. Me and my wife used to get a right chuckle out of it. We'd sit down and laugh at Sean Hawkins. It was great because he had a bit between his teeth. I think he's lost interest maybe in me. I haven't paid much attention recently, but if he gets the bit between his teeth, endless amusement, Arwen. Just watch his shows about you and you'll chuckle about how stupid he is. It's really amusing. Like I say, me and my wife got a lot out of it. I should really thank him for the amusement.
You're welcome. Well, I think I really kind of got to him, or whatever that's worth these days, because I named like a title of my show. I put his name in there when I first discovered the miraculous discovery that Sean Hawkins still to this day believes that water vapor is not a gas. And he's still to this day doubling down. In the video where he reviewed me criticizing him for that, he actually doubles down on it and says that I'm still wrong, that he's still right. I think it's special.
Get you out poking the bear.
Well, when you get that stupid, you just have to, you know?
I just laugh at him. I don't tend to tangle with him. Just, you know, if you're going to wrestle with pigs, you're going to get dirty, right?
No, I'm not going to wrestle with him.
A metaphor.
Just, you know, maybe kick him a little when he gets too close or something, but that's it.
You're gonna
not really
kick
kick
him.
him, just push him out of the way, you know?
Didn't we
You're
cover this yesterday?
You're gonna digitally kick him?
Didn't we cover this yesterday? If you're going to debate with somebody like that, and you get to a point that you've clearly won, and this will be forever the example. It's just tough luck, guys, if you're listening to this. So you get to the point where you say, well, you know, you've got gas evaporating up and getting thinner, and that's your explanation. It's called the hydrologic cycle. And they go, water's not a gas. When you're dealing with somebody like that, you're dealing with somebody incredibly stupid. You can't reason with people like that. They're too stupid to be reasoned with.
Yeah. Yep. Because they don't understand the context of the entire point.
Nathan, if you remember the phrase biogeochemical cycle, that's 10 cycles or 12 cycles all wrapped up in one phrase that is better and more powerful than the hydrological cycle, although that is a valid point. There's 10 or 12 that all wrap up into that one phrase. And the minute they Google it, they'll find out what it is, and then they can see that there's a lot more to it that they've forgotten since primary school that explains why we have the gas pressure gradient at low levels, and it doesn't all burst into space the way that they say it would do on our model if what we said was true. We say, no, it's because we're contained. That's the reason why it doesn't.
Hey,
yeah, you just need to remember that phrase.
Good to have you.
Still, I have a direct question for Sean Hawkins, who is no doubt listening in right now at the premiere of the show, because he's always listening. He has nothing else to do, right? Like, hey, Sean, did you know that water vapor is basically evaporating water? So what does that tell you? It tells you that there is the word gas, vapor and gas are pretty much synonymous, that it's in there in both utilizations, descriptions of the process. Why are you holding on to this weird idea that water vapor is supposedly not a gas? Why?
I can give you an answer with a quote. Because it's not gas, it's gaseous.
It's not a why.
Yeah, what point does
it makes even less sense? It's the same.
I've just like I say,
proves by holding on to it.
No, Pete. There's no reasoning with these people. They're thick.
Nathan, what point does he think it proves by him holding on to it?
Yeah,
the gas laws won't apply. Where we're holding gas law up and saying, look, this is what gas does. Oh, right, with an example of water vapor. Well, that's not even a gas. Ha ha ha. We're dealing with morons. On a brighter note, my monster bass strap arrived today. Hung it up on a nail. Got the position right. Put a screw in later.
I thought you were going to say, hung it up with a nail, went through a water pipe, flooded the whole house.
Nothing like that. No, I ran the electricity tester over the wall and all that stuff.
And has it made any difference whatsoever?
it's going to be subtle. It's one of those that until the entire room's treated, which is just a financial limitation, it does show subtle improvements each time I do something. And the objective, which was to make this, what I'm doing now, sound better, really is only achieved if you do the whole room. So when I attempted to do it with the bits that I got, I was like, I'll get those first, and if needed, I'll add to them. I stuck one of them behind me, and because it was a really thick panel, number one, it made it quite uncomfortable because it was so big around me, and it's deadening too much. It wasn't diffusing the sound enough. It's deadening it. So it's hard description. It's hard to describe to somebody what it's like if you've ever been in an overdamped studio, which I have many times. It's an uncomfortable sensation, and I mean physically uncomfortable, not mentally. You can almost feel yourself wanting to twist up in your own bones if a room's overdamped, because you get a certain amount of perceptual information from sound bouncing off walls. You know, you figure out how big the room is and things like that. You get a certain amount of perception data, and if you rob the room of all that data, it becomes slightly disorientating and uncomfortable physically. And that was the sensation I got when I stuck it just behind me. So I'm like, okay, well, I've got to spread it out around the room to stop it all bouncing around the room and then going back into the mic. That's the whole point. But it just means it costs more, and therefore it's taking me longer. So one panel isn't going to make like, wow, it's suddenly... No, it's not quite like that. But today it will be more damped in the mic. It will sound better today than it did yesterday, because I've got an extra panel up that's over in the far corner that's stopping it bouncing back into the mic. So the principle's going to be slightly better today, but then in a month, when I've hopefully bought a couple more panels, I'll finish eventually. It's just a horrendously expensive endeavour. You know, you start off thinking I'll just need a little bit, and then before you know it, you spent $1,000. But there we go. That's how life is if you're going to do something properly. But yeah, it's slowly making an improvement. I can hear it as I talk around the room, looking in different directions. I can hear where it's not bouncing now and it was before. So yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be spending the money if I hadn't immediately noticed it made a massive improvement with just one of them, which it did. So yeah, there you go. I'll probably do a video which nobody will watch. Like on various other technical aspects of the show that I do a video and I'm super excited about it. I put it out and it'll get like 10 views. But yeah, once I've finished, I'll do a video, and because I've got footage of the room in different states, I'm sure I can dig out some old footage of before and just say, here it is now.
I tell you, it's funny that when you said about it takes time for people to pick up on conversations. I had Spurs yesterday saying to me, he says, do you know what? He said, everybody's getting onto the idea now that gravity's not a force. I've only been saying that for the last 12 months. I said, yeah, I know, but people are really getting onto it.
You've been saying it for 12 months. You know when it was actually superseded? 105 years ago.
Yeah. And I said, Spurs, it drives me mad that our side don't cite it because it's their current science. And it's almost as if they're nervous to cite it because it's coming from another flat earther, be it me or Nathan or whoever. It doesn't matter who comes from. They just don't seem to like saying it, because what they ballers immediately do is, oh, you've been listening to Nathan Oakley. And by association, that dilutes the argument. Even though no matter what the point is, it might be the current physics, it might be an interpretation, it might be a piece of evidence, doesn't matter. The minute they pin it against, oh, it's from Nathan Oakley, it's right out of Nathan Oakley's mouth, it puts people off. And I'm like, you don't need to. It's funny. Current science, guys.
That's kind of funny, because when George Musa was writing about him, I don't remember reading about Nathan Oakley in George Musa's article.
Yeah.
So what the fuck does Nathan have to do with any of that?
Most of the arguments
what's wrong with you guys?
The formulated arguments on the whole have come from Quantum Eraser, not me. That's the first point. And secondly, it's the example where I say if an inmate took control of the prison, got on AOL dial-up and phoned in, and then presented a coherent argument, we would at the very least hear his argument and then try to rebut it. It wouldn't matter. You know, I don't know which fallacy it is, but in terms of the appeal to the creditation of the person, it's irrelevant. It's their argument that stands. If it was relevant, Musa would just make him the arbiter of this bullshit. You know, we can pull it apart and challenge them on their own rhetoric. Even when we're on opposition, he's a hostile witness. So when we're saying gravity's not a force, it's not because we want to convince people that we live with a pseudo-Ramonian force-based reality. We're using him as a hostile witness when they quote Newtonian quote unquote gravity. That's all it is. Hostile witness.
Yeah.
The way I see it, Anthony, is we go at the foundations of their stated beliefs and stated pseudoscience, and we cite the names of the people that they refer to all the time when they debate, and we tear them apart at the foundational part, where the other flat earthers are more interested in approaching it from a different tact. They'll approach it from pictures or, some kind of other means, but we attack the source, and and that's what makes the show so good, is because if the source is wrong, then they can't use anything from it.
Yeah. And that's obviously the key point that that ballers don't like. They're happy to argue about how GPS does this. It's only because it's on a ball, and how this, that, and the other technology applies only because it's on a ball. Yet none of them can prove that the Earth turns, or that it was curved, or that. I mean, I had an argument about geodesic surveying, and basically the argument was everything is measured as flat. Geodesic surveying then calculates using electronics and technology. It translates that flat into a geoid model. And then from that model, they extrapolate out whatever they perceive. But it's the translation that's lost, because they don't.
What my presentation is this evening about.
Pardon?
Don't give it all away. That's what the whole presentation I'm doing this evening is about.
Well, that's what they're doing. They measure it all flat, and then geodesics get involved and calculate it by applying it to a geoid model with a bit of electronics. And then before you know it, you got a ball. Well, if you don't do that and you just rely on it not being a curve, then you're left with a flat plane, or you're left with something that's not a curve, not a ball.
Hey, Brian.
Well, if you think of it as a house that had to be built,
Hey, Nathan.
And let's hang on, Brian. So if you think of it as a house that has to be built, you build the foundation first, then the walls, then the roof and on. So they've had hundreds of years to build this phony globe model, and everyone's arguing at the wall, at the roof, at this beam, and we go, well, let's look at the foundation. What's it based on? And when you destroy the foundation, the whole house comes down. But if they have fooled 99% of the Western world because of the wall and the roof. And if you go to the foundation and show that it's based on a pack of lies, the whole thing's going to come down. That's why this show is superb. Go on, Brad.
Oh, no, I was just saying hello to Nathan. He said,
I said it's my fault. I said hello to him through you, and then he replied, so it's my fault, 10th.
What's up, Ryan?
But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Chocolate.
It's destroying the R value. That's the foundation of geometry. So that's the end of their model. It'll all implode from here on in. There's no way back. It's a what's the word? Is it chain reaction? I think that's the words.
Domino effect.
Chain
Domino
reaction.
effect, yeah,
Correct.
All that. Correct. I
had an interesting conversation last night, Nathan.
Go on.
I had an interesting conversation last night about the ISS. Apparently, it was doing a flyover at around about 11 minutes past 10 last night. And I went out to see if I could see it. Now, I was told it was a transit of the moon. And I went out there between 10 past 10 and 12 minutes past 10. And I didn't see anything passing across the front of the moon. So I came back in to check the facts, because it's normally the bang on with the claim, like to the minute almost. It's almost as if they say, look in the sky at 12 minutes past, we'll fly past, and the flat Earth flies past in a big jet. And that's literally what it is. But last night I was out looking for it and I never saw it. So I came back in to do some checks to see whether or not it was meant to be a lunar flyby. And it wasn't. But the ballers are all talking about seeing the International Space Station doing a lunar lunar flyby. And I'm like, it didn't pass the moon. What are you talking about? Now, I didn't even see it anyway. Now, to be fair, I was zoomed in on the moon, so it could have gone past without me even seeing it. But there were other people that were looking up saying that they didn't see anything go near the moon either. So I'm like, well, what did it even go over? And it's almost as if like it didn't happen. Now, I'm not saying it definitely didn't happen, but it definitely wasn't a lunar transit the way that we were being told it was. Yeah, all the ballers are all talking as though, yeah, I took my kids out to see the lunar transit. And I'm like, it didn't even pass the moon if it went past at all. But I didn't see any evidence that the ISS was in the sky last night. But
what's the ISS?
Apparently, Bowler were telling everyone they saw it.
Saw what? What is it? What's the ISS?
Well, a light in the sky or some kind of hologram or whatever.
Hold on, light in the sky. So we're talking about something in reality that you can see, that does exist, as a light in the sky, that moves at high velocity from our perception. Correct?
Yeah.
But
my point was that they were saying it was a lunar transit and it didn't happen.
But I'm just trying to pin whether or not this actually has sides being argued at all. Do you, I'm not saying flat earthers, you personally, deny that the ISS is something that exists in reality? The ISS is a light in the sky, just for clarity.
I'm not sure what it is. There does appear to be something up there.
That's not what I asked. Okay. Do you accept the sun is real?
Real?
Yeah.
Tangible, no. Physical, probably not.
It's not what I asked.
No, I would say I don't accept that the sun is real.
No. It's in our reality. We have a sun in our reality, therefore real by that standard. Would you agree?
Yeah, but what is the real though? Is it physical or is it metaphysical?
I'm not trying to debate the semantics. Do you accept we have a sun? My God.
Yes.
Do you accept that we have what is termed the ISS as a light in the sky? Do you accept that is a thing?
Yes.
Like Venus is a light in the sky. Same thing, right?
Yes.
So we have a discussion between two parties that have opposing views on the nature of the flat reality we dwell atop, debating about a light in the sky. But there's no discussion about the juxtaposition between that light in the sky neither side's denying and the one side claiming it is a specific thing when they present images of men on sound stages.
Yes.
So you're not in opposition to them when you debate what it might have done on a given night. It's just a light in the sky.
Well, I was last night because it was we were told it was supposed to be a lunar transit, and it didn't actually do it. If it was in the sky at all, it didn't traverse the front of the moon. But the ballers are acting and talking as though they took the kids out and saw it, and it did. And I'm like, hang on, it didn't pass the front of the moon.
I
so
see.
What I'm saying is there was a discrepancy on the claimed facts.
I see. So you're saying the interesting bit between the two parties is that the people, at least on our side, from what you can perceive, are saying, I didn't see anything. And then you've looked it up and you're not supposed to see anything. But yet the Globers, for some reason, are saying, oh yeah, we saw the ISS go past the moon. It's ace, show my kids.
Yeah, on Twitter, I was watching this conversation unfold on Twitter, and it's almost as if they're deliberately pushing a lie with consensus to see how many people can be fooled by it. It's almost as if they're deliberately lying.
You got to make up for it, man. You know how many people were disappointed because poor SpaceX didn't get to launch the other day and send their little rocket to the ISS. You got to give the people the bread and circuses, man. Got to entertain them. So they didn't get that. So give them something else. Oh, look, lunar transit of the ISS. Yay, great. See how excited they are by that? For what?
Does Venus has solar panels?
Hey, cheeky. ¿Qué pasa, man?
Time for Chocolate to give us the voiceover.
Hey, Jack, do you still think there's no horizon on the flat Earth?
No.
Thank
So,
God.
Chikey, you said if it's not a globe horizon, hang on. Chikey, you said if it's not a globe horizon, then no horizon at all? How can you say that?
No, I asked if Venus has solar panels.
No. We got you on a recording saying if it's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all. You didn't say Venus.
No horizon for you.
Good for you. Good for you. Nathan said
Good
Venus.
for me.
We're talking about Venus and light in the sky. Don't try to escape what you say.
What are you talking about? We'll come back to your
What do
Venus
you think
anytime
Venus
like.
is?
Yeah, you don't want to talk
Guys,
about
you
yesterday.
shouldn't
That's what
red
he's
herring
saying.
his red herring, you know?
Oh, gosh.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wait a
red
minute. Isn't
herring?
light, define what light in the sky is. something that's giving off a luminescent light. If you look up and it's giving off a luminescent light, that's a light in the sky. So he's just saying it's not a light in the sky. Is that what you just said?
I've got his quote on screen. It's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all.
No, but he said Venus wasn't a light in the sky.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's just clarifying. Okay, go ahead.
He did say the quote that's on screen, though.
Yeah. So just because you lose your R doesn't mean you could take the apparent horizon and toss that away.
10th man might not be able to hear you.
What? I think
Chike,
what do you mean?
No, we're not hearing him.
He's not talking.
Well, we're not hearing Chikey, but
Because he's not responding.
I asked
No,
the
somebody else
question.
is
You
talking.
didn't respond.
Oh, right. You asked a question of us, did you? Oh, all right. All of what we've just said is irrelevant, guys. Apparently, we didn't ask a question he asked us.
Or he has a bad Discord connection.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Chikey, yesterday, let's start all over. And then you answer our question, and then we'll hear yours out. Yesterday, you said
I
if
can
it's
hear
not
that.
a globe horizon, then there's no horizon at all. So what do you mean by
Look.
that? Are you saying there's no apparent horizon because you lost your R?
Yesterday I tried to talk. You didn't let me. Let's move on.
Oh, listen,
right.
look at you.
That's
Oh my
a no,
gosh.
10th man. He's not going to discuss this quote we've got on
I
screen.
guess not. I guess not. Too much pressure.
You have it on screen. You have it on tape. What's the problem?
And I'm asking for clarity. How?
About what?
Because you lose your baby
Because we're
toy
going to
R.
the source of the crap. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we'd like you to justify your statement, please.
I tried to. I wasn't being able.
Oh, I see. You want to try again?
How about now?
Will you let me talk
I
to
don't
the
believe this
end?
bullshit. Management has been notified in case of call. The affected individual told they should stay in.
Take your time, Chikey. If it's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all.
Okay, you wanted to go to back to this. Okay, let's continue where we were. You had a claim. If you have a hair and you'll get some distance, it will vanish. I will not see it anymore. Is that right?
Well, I asked you that question.
The question is, do
and
you
I
think that's
said,
wrong?
no, it will not vanish.
Yeah, it will.
It will,
Chiki.
because of perspective, Chikey.
Angular
You
resolution.
do understand that, right?
Angular resolution, calculable with the Rayleigh criterion, based on the aperture of your eye and the limits that you can see things at. Angular resolution limit. Yes, it will.
Yeah, I heard you.
So remember the challenge I gave
Okay.
you the other day? Remember
Look,
that?
you let me speak or don't ask me questions, okay?
I wasn't asking you a question. You said no, and then I corrected you. That wasn't a question. That was me telling you something.
Okay, I heard you. Now, let's continue. Let's take incandescent
Oh, can we
light
that
bulb.
question?
No, you don't
It's a
let me
question.
talk
Can we
again.
continue? It was an example I was making, and an example I was making where I needed you to concede this angular resolution limit for me to make my example. But you think that it's now going to turn into your example, and you're going to talk incessantly, having me got a concession that I failed to get yesterday for about 10 minutes of attempts of getting you to concede that there is an angular resolution limit and a hair would disappear, having given you an example of a brick that you also didn't concede. You think it's now reasonable for you to take up the reins and talk incessantly? No, mate. I was in the middle of an example. That's why we were talking about hair. You were asked a completely different question, though. You're asked to justify your quote if it's not a globe horizon, no horizon at all. Now we're back onto my example and your concession that a hair will disappear if you back far enough away from it. I will continue with my example if you'll allow me.
Go on.
My example that I was giving you in terms of how things can disappear from bottom up. I started with an example of a brick, you denied it. Then I went on to an example with a hair, you denied it. So I couldn't make my example. Now, you were asked about your quote that's been on screen this entire time, and you haven't justified it. We've gone on to my example that I was making, and now I'm still in the middle of making it, having just got the concession that hair would disappear by way of angular resolution limit. Now, I'm asking if, given that I was in the middle of that yesterday, and you wouldn't concede that a hair would disappear or a brick would disappear at any distance ever, and based on that you said that we wouldn't have a horizon at all on a flat plane that doesn't have a R-based horizon, well, that's where we're at, mate. Just you justifying why we wouldn't have a horizon at all because your calculations are inside for you and don't give you one if you remove your R-based horizon. That's where we're at. But you wanting to carry on babbling after me being in the middle of an example and getting clarity that hair will disappear, that's all I need. Yeah, I understand a hair will disappear. Then I'll carry on my example. That's what I'm trying to tease out of you now, as you've changed it from your quote to my example you rumpus the shit out of and wouldn't concede simple facts that we have an angular resolution limit based on the Rayleigh criterion. It's calculable.
We don't.
Yeah, we do. Based on the aperture of your eye. I've just explained
Let me give you an example.
No, I'm in the middle of my example. I've just had to explain to a complete retard for the last 4 minutes that this is my example, you dumb fuck. These people are like I say, there's no reasoning with stupidity. If you're dealing with someone very stupid, when you try and get them to concede something very simple, you can't see a hair at any distance. It's very simple. They won't concede. Then when you drag them around by their short hairs for an entire day, laugh at them a bit, and then they do concede that it will disappear and angular resolution is it's real, and you want to continue your example, they then, like I just literally described on this show, immediately jerk back to their original assertion. So no, I'm not going to get to continue with my example. Chikey's decided no. We're not going to get taken through this example that demonstrates how we can have things disappearing from bottom up on a flat plane with a horizon that's very much real due to angular resolution limits. And he won't let me make my example with the brick or the hair. Even when I get a concession, it's back to, oh, well, I'm going to make an example in the middle of your example. No, mate, that's unreasonable.
Nathan,
said go on.
posted a couple of photographs. Sorry, John.
He said,
I'm waiting
Jackie
for
said,
you.
go on.
Say again?
Jackie said, go on. You didn't hear him. He said, go on with your example.
Did I not hear
Brian,
you say... Did I not hear you
hold
say go
on a
on,
second.
Chikey? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
I'm
Jackie
waiting.
said,
I'm waiting for
oh
the...
my
Oh my
God,
God.
shut the fuck up. Chikey said, go on with your example.
But he did.
I tried to, but then he said he wanted to make an example of his own as soon as I started, literally immediately.
No, when you started, he said go on right before you started.
Okay, is that correct, Chikey? You're willing to listen?
I'm...
Is that yes?
Yeah.
It's like pulling teeth.
Chikey,
Telling
if you're
you.
using push to talk, try to hold on to it a little bit longer while you're speaking. Otherwise, just mute and unmute when you speak because you're chopping up hard, bro.
Yes, I'm...
Yes, I'm... How very useful, thank you. An adjective, maybe?
That's right. That's right.
I'm running... It's like pulling teeth.
Oh, man.
Like, Chunky, are you sitting like in the middle
What's
of the
going on,
sun or
Arwen,
something?
is he's deliberately chopping up, I assume, now, because when I start my example, he'll add that little adjective in that gives him his justification for interruptions constantly. And meanwhile, we're sitting in silence waiting for him to say, yes, you may continue, and I will listen, without constant interruptions and requests to make an example in the middle of your example that's taken 24 hours to reach the point where he concedes a hair will disappear, so I can continue with my example. I just need, yeah, I'll shut up and listen to the rest of your example. Will we get that from him ever? Probably not.
Nathan, I put two pictures in Master B showing the bottom of a jar disappearing from the bottom up. One with the two jars together and one with the jar disappearing at the back from the just by a change of angle and distance. If you want to put them up, I'll put them out on the show.
Yeah, I'll stick them up for the audience's benefit. Thank you very much.
Wow, Jackie, that was really flowing from you.
I don't know, man. Chunky
So
either
you're done?
overheated or on drugs or something.
It's all the above, probably. Who knows? I mean, he's just playing around right now.
That wait, that's the best you guy can come with. I'm waiting for the fucking exam.
Oh, you were waiting for me to make the example? Oh, excellent, Chaiki. I'll continue then. So, given that a hair can disappear at a given distance, you can scale that up based on the exact same mathematics, Rayleigh criterion, angular resolution limit, to something like a brick. So, we're back to the original assertion. If you take a brick and put it at a few yards away from you, Chaiki, you would see the brick. However, if you took the brick out to about a mile, the brick, like the hair, would also disappear. Now, I'm not going to ask if you would concede this point and go through the dance of saying no, it wouldn't disappear at a mile. So what I'm going to do is now push that distance from a mile to 5 miles. A very far distance for you to see with your human eye, so that we're definitely at the point where we both understand and appreciate that this brick is too small to see, like the hair, way beyond the distance that you could see it if it's, say, an 8-inch brick. So, we're at the point where a brick is on the horizon, Chaiki. Too small to see. Do you understand so far?
Yes, I understand.
Excellent. Now, given that this 8-inch brick at 5 miles has disappeared completely from your vision, i.e. you can no longer see it, would you also concede that if I was to then build a skyscraper on top of it 100 stories high, that we would definitely see the skyscraper at 5 miles? So therefore, we can't see the bottom brick of the skyscraper. The angular size is too small. But we can see the skyscraper that's been built on top of it at 5 miles with a wider angle of view versus the deck we're looking over. So we effectively have, because of angular resolution limits, one brick gone at 5 miles and the rest of the building visible. That would be bottom-up obstruction in your vernacular when claiming this disappearing brick is actually obscured by an Earth curve based on an R value.
Well, that's.
Are you done?
That's.
Am I done? Do you need to question whether or not my conclusion was succinct and concise? Yeah, I made a conclusion. Do you not understand the conclusion? Because it seems you're vague, given that you've just asked me, after making a conclusion, if I finished. Yeah, I'm definitely finished with the globe.
Okay. Can I go? I'll change just a little thing. I will replace your brick with a very bright bulb. Would you be able to see it, Nathan?
We had this chap called Jose J.G. Gonzalez who did it with a very bright bulb. And yeah, it still disappeared when he lowered it into the angle that was too limited. So yeah.
When it was behind the horizon.
It was only on the shop floor, actually. But yeah, you can create a horizon with a very level shop floor that's long enough if you get low enough. Horizons don't just vanish when we obliterate your R value with a black swan. We still can create a horizon just by getting very low to the ground. It's amazing. And surprisingly, your bulb example is still been demonstrated by people on your own side. One who hosts a show. Amazing, isn't it? So no, it doesn't in any way change angular resolution limits. Yeah, it would still disappear from bottom up. You can show it happening in real time, and it has been shown by many people by lowering camera phone lights to the ground so that they are in the most limited angle and they vanish. It's amazing. It's nothing to do with Earth curve though, and still everything to do with the horizon they've created by lowering their phone to the ground. You appreciate that we still haven't got to the point where you justify your quote, where you said if we're not got a globe horizon, we can't have a horizon? We can.
Right, Nathan, how big you think are the lights on the...
Why are you asking me something with your little gravelly voice?
Because you see them very...
Sorry, you're going to ask and answer your own question. You are quoted by 10th Man. We've just gone through the stance of demonstrating that we can have things disappear from bottom up based on angular resolution limit, because you made a statement that we quoted you on in regards to not having a horizon at all if we don't have a geometric sphere edge for a horizon. Utter bollocks! You're a fucktard! Do you need me to be a bit less subtle? You're a fucking idiot! Is that any less subtle? Maybe ask me if I'm done when I tell you that my conclusion is you're a fucking idiot. Are you hearing me on FM, mate?
You can still see the airplane light.
Fuckwit! You are thick as shit and don't understand that horizons are capable of being created simply by lowering your phone to the ground. They don't only exist in side view Muppet vision on a globe. You retard. How much less subtle do I need to be?
Nathan, you said
Don't humour me by asking me something with my name at the beginning of your statement. You are thick as shit. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Now, Chaiki, now that you appreciate how dumb you are, sit your ass down. Don't feel you've got the right or privilege to ask us questions. You're dumb. So sit down, maybe listen a little bit more. Don't deny that you can't see a hair at any distance, or that we must have a geometric horizon in order to have a horizon. You're stupid and therefore worth less in this conversation. I hope you appreciate why and how that is, given that we've just demonstrated it, with you here having it demonstrated, with your own stupid words. Now sit down, shut up, you've got nothing to offer.
So...
Pound says... A note before I even got to say it. I said Pound was going to say that the next words were going to be from Chaiki. Of course they are. He's retarded.
Can you answer my question, Chaiki? Yes or no?
Did you?
Tenth, I can't, you idiots.
To your credit, Chaiki, that's further than we get with most people, which by your own side's very, very low standards put you half a cut above the rest. Now, that by any normal standards is absolutely atrocious. However, take solace in you being half a cut above the lowest of the low. Kudos.
Yeah. Well, he's starting
so back to my original question.
Oh, it's time after me telling you off and telling you to sit down, shut up, don't ask us questions and assert nonsense anymore, that you think it's now time for a segue into your questions. Shut up, you complete buffoon.
He's past the Don Threader level, and he's approaching Sean Hawkins level if he's not careful.
No, he tolerated listening to an explanation and conceded at various moments, are we not? That's why I've just given him kudos. He's definitely not at the Sean Hawkins level.
Right. But yeah, Dawn Threader can also do that. So that's why I
that's
said.
true. You know, one cut above is like a cum virus. He'll do the same thing as Chaiki just did, but slightly quicker. That's the only difference. With a lot of effort, almost the same.
Well, it would seem like Chaiki's vanished into thin hair.
Boom, boom.
Wow.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on the Nathan Oakley programming stream, or Nathan Oakley 1980 programming stream, if this is going out for you on Sunday. A massive thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community's debate. Thank you for smashing the super chat. If you did so, I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!